Clap. Hallelujah. I know that a lot of you are wondering why I'm dressed like this, being that I am the speaker for this general session. Well, God instructed me to do something different today that's going to change the way you think about yourself, your ministry, your family, difficult situations, or whatever it may be that's keeping you from fulfilling God's plan and purpose for your life, or that's keeping you from maximizing your potential. Some of you, he told me to dress like this in order to illustrate to you not long ago how I felt and how some of our ministers and peoples in our churches are at in their lives right now. He told me to entitle this message, Bleeding While Leading. It's time to heal now. It's time to walk in your season. My text is Isaiah 53:5. He was wounded for our transgression. He was bruised for our iniquity. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. He also gave me Psalms 31:5. My times are in your hands, O Lord. Some of you who are here today, you are pastoring big, some medium or some small-sized churches, while others of you are leading parachurch ministries, ministering in Bible colleges or universities, and others are missionaries or evangelists or teachers or working some type of leadership in your church, but you are bleeding while you are leading. This bleeding is caused by a variety of different things. They stem from frustration and discouragement and despondency and depression, and from disappointments of ministry and church hurts. How many of you know we got a lot of people in society today that used to be in the church that are not there because of church hurts? For some, your bleeding has been caused by loneliness in the ministry because of lack of fellowship of others in the ministry to fellowship with. For some, your bleeding has to do with your marriage being in shambles or other family problems. For some, your bleeding has to do with your financial difficulties. For some, your bleeding has to do with being burned out, disillusioned, and you're just dry. For some, your bleeding has to do with the cares of this life. For some, your bleeding has been inflicted on you by others. And for some, your wounds are self-inflicted. And there are a host of other things. Because of this, some of you are restless and dissatisfied. You have gotten to the point that you don't know what God's will for your life right now is. That's because you feel tired and unfulfilled. As a matter of fact, your bleeding while leading has you to the point of thinking like the psalmist in his time of difficulty. Even though he was close to God, but he was in a season of his life when he wanted to escape from the problems and the pressures of life. And he said in Psalms 55 verses 4 through 8, my heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death assails me. Fear and trembling has beset me. Horror has overwhelmed me. I said, oh, that I had the wings of a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. I would fly away and stay in the desert. I would hurry to a place of shelter far from the tempest and storm. How many of you know that bleeding can be a very dangerous thing? That's because life is in the blood. Leviticus 17:11 says, for the life of every creature is in the blood. In other words, since blood in the body represents life, shed blood represents life poured out, that is death. You see, church, bleeding causes us to lose vital fluids of blood in order to maintain our health. The average adult has about 5 liters of blood living inside of their body, coursing through their vessels, delivering essential elements and removing harmful wastes. Without blood, the human body would stop working. From a medical standpoint, blood is the fluid of life, transporting oxygen from the lungs to the body tissues and carbon dioxide from body tissues to the lungs. Not only is that, but blood is the fluid of growth, transporting nourishment from digestion and hormone from glands throughout the body. And blood is the fluid of health, transporting disease-fighting substances to the tissues and waste to the kidneys. You see, church, bleeding can cause you bruises. Bleeding can cause you to go into shock. Bleeding can cause paleness. Bleeding can cause clammy skin. Bleeding can cause dizziness or lightheadedness after an injury. Bleeding can cause rapid pulse and increased heart rate. Bleeding can cause low blood pressure. Bleeding can cause shortness of breath. Bleeding can cause confusion or decreasing alertness. Bleeding can cause weakness and a lot of other health problems. For some of you, your spiritual blood count is low. Therefore, causing your mind and your will and your emotions not to be able to function effectively in following God's will for your life. This has been a problem for so many people for centuries, even in the Bible times. That's because all through the Bible we can find great men of God that at some point in their lives they begin to spiritually bleed while they were leading. Some examples are Moses, Elijah, and King Saul. Let's talk about Moses briefly. Moses experienced frustration with the children of Israel while leading them or attempting to lead them to the promised land that caused him to bleed while he was leading. Numbers 20 tells us that he was frustrated with them to the point that when God told them to speak to the rock in order to bring forth water for the children of Israel, out of anger, he struck the rock twice. This caused Moses to disobey God and disqualify himself from leading the children of Israel into the promised land. Men and women of God, if you're not careful, You will be like Moses. You will disqualify yourself from certain levels of accomplishments in your ministry if you don't allow God to heal you of your bleeding while you are leading. Also, the Bible tells us in 1 Kings chapter 19 that discouragement and depression and fatigue crept in on the prophet Elijah after his greatest victory over the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. The temporary bleeding started after Jezebel responded to him in 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 2, saying, "May the gods deal with me, be it so ever severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life that of one of them." Elijah responded by running for his life, and he said in verse 19 of that same chapter, "I have enough, Lord." He said, "Take my life. I'm no better than my ancestors." Once again, men and women of God, you have to be careful that you don't allow your hope, your labor, and struggles of your ministry to seem to appear as if it's falling apart because things may not be going the way that you want them to go in this season. And it has you fatigued and wanting to give up. That's because discouragement and disappointments and frustration and fatigue has complicated your recovery. And if you don't allow God to heal you of your bleeding while you are leading, you're in trouble. And in 1 Samuel chapter 18, jealousy caused King Saul to bleed while he was leading. That's because Saul's appreciation for David, who had just saved his army of a terrible defeat, turned to jealousy as people began to applaud David's exploits. Saul has slain thousands, but David has slain his tens of thousands. And in this jealous rage, Saul attempts to kill David by hurling a spear at him. Like Saul, if you're not careful, your bleeding of jealousy of what God may be doing through others in their ministry may seem more significant than what you are doing, may breed resentment and rivalry. The story is told of a pastor that was praying and fasting and seeking God. And no matter what he did, the church just wouldn't grow. It just wouldn't grow. It just wouldn't grow. And God allowed him to pass by another church that was growing. He had been in the ministry maybe 10 years, and this person had been in the ministry maybe 2 years, and his church was growing leaps and bounds. And he knew this man didn't have a prayer life as much as he did. He knew this man didn't do a lot of fasting. You know, he just couldn't understand it. And every day he had to drive by this man's church. And he said, "I'm just tired of driving by this man's church. Lord, here I am doing everything right, and he's doing very little. His church is growing, and so I'm going to find another way to go to church." And so he found another way to go to church, but the Lord fixed it so that he couldn't go no other way. He had to keep driving by that church. Then something quickened him and said, "That's jealousy. That's a spirit of jealousy." Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You're a spirit of jealousy. And until you begin to learn how to appreciate that man, until you begin to pray for his ministry and bless his ministry, I can't bless you like I wanted to. And so as he began to drive by now, he had a different attitude. He began to bless that man's ministry. He began to ask that God to bless that man. He began to, hallelujah, to ask God to do that. And then his ministry began to grow. Some of you who are here today, you're leading, but you're bleeding. Because of your bleeding, it has placed you at a crossroad in your personal life. For some in your marriage. For some in your Christianity. For some in your ministry or whatever area it may be. You're at a place in your life that you're not sure of the vision that you feel like God has given you for your life or ministry anymore. You're just not sure. You used to pray about the vision. You used to fast about the vision. You used to confess the vision. The more you prayed about it, the more you fasted about it, it just seemed like nothing worked the way you wanted it. And now all of a sudden, hallelujah, you have just swept your vision under the bed. Let me ask some questions to help you to see if you're bleeding right now. Are you happy? We got to be honest with ourselves. Are you happy? The average minister is not happy in ministry. I'm going to be honest. I talk to a lot of ministers, and they are not happy. A lot of Christians, they're not happy in their marriage. They're not happy where they are in their life. Are you happy? Another question. Do you have a zeal for living? Are you excited about God? Are you excited about living? Are you excited about ministry? Are you excited about serving Him? Are you just getting by? Are you socially adjusted? Do you like being around people? The most vicious mental sickness is the loss of interest in other people. Do you have unity within yourself? You know, we're talking about unity with others. First, you got to have unity within yourself before you can have unity with others. Have you learned how to accept yourself for what you are? Can you accept life with each problem as it arises? Do you have insight into your own conduct? Do you know the underlying reason for your behavior? For what you do as a Christian? Do you understand yourself, your ability as well as your limitations? Do you know and understand your own fears? Do you have a confidential relationship with some other person? Or have you been hurt to the point that you don't want to be bothered with anybody? You don't want to share your hurts. You don't want to share your feelings with anybody because everybody you've tried to get close to, they've hurt you. Do you have a sense of humor? The joy of the Lord is our strength. Are you engaged in satisfying work? It's surprising how many people today that go to work every day and they hate their job. They hate coming home to their family. Do you know how to face problems effectively? You see, church, if you're struggling with the majority of those things, you may be bleeding while leading. But that's okay, because God has your number today. He said to me, I have brought my people together for this strategic conference of doing a new thing in their midst. I want to send them back to their cities with a new heart and a new attitude. I want to broaden their territory, but first they've got to be healed of their bleeding while they're leading. For I have given you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. But if God is going to give you a heart of following His purpose and plan for your life, and if you're going to maximize your potential, number one, you first must expose your open wounds to the Holy Spirit. We got a lot of Christians out there. I wouldn't say it's been a hypocrite, but I'm saying we got a lot of people out there that's pretending to be something that they're not. And I'm not talking about when it comes to your relationship with the Lord. How you doing, brother? Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm blessed of the Lord. No, you ain't. How's the church? Oh, it's doing well. No, it's not. How's your wife? Oh, she's doing fine. No, she's not. Quite some time ago, I was bleeding while leading because I was frustrated. I was discouraged. Is it all right I be real? I had a negative attitude. The church wasn't growing. The attendance was declining. And some people in leadership wasn't being faithful to their positions in the church, and a host of other things. This had me to a breaking point in my ministry. That's because I wanted to resign the church. Not only did I want to resign the church, I wanted to quit the ministry altogether and go get me a secular job and live a normal, simple life like everybody else. I ain't got to put up with this stuff. They don't know how good of a pastor they got. They don't know what they got. I'm going to get me a job. I'm going to get me a 9-to-5 job. I'm going to go find me some large church to go to, and that's all I have to do is just go to church. I don't want nobody to know I'm a minister. I've been in the ministry. I'm just going to take care of it. Is it all right to be real here? Come on, we got to be real here. I was bleeding, but I was bleeding. You see, church, my bleeding of being in a difficult season in my life where I felt like I wasn't making any progress anymore. Well, I was just going through the motions. Had me not enjoying pastoring no more. That's right. I wasn't enjoying pastoring. I was looking for a way out. It had me not wanting to be bothered with people anymore. Come on, you know, I'm a people person. I love it. I like, man, people you be most, you help the most when you need them. They not nowhere to be found. Lord, I ain't got to deal with this. I got a degree. I can go do something else. Man, being beat up by church people, being talked about by church people. I couldn't even enjoy my family. Come on, let me be real. I couldn't enjoy my family like I used to because of what I was going through had a negative effect on every area of my life. It was also affecting everyone around me. Why? Because my bleeding while leading was causing me to bleed on everyone around me. Come on, I bleed. You know, hallelujah. You preaching to the ones that are faithful. Come on, but you beating them up. And they ain't the ones that you're supposed to be beating up, because the ones that are being unfaithful, hallelujah. Come on now, let me be real. Come on, let me be real. The board meeting didn't go the way that I wanted it to, so I'm coming home with that attitude. Come on now, come on, let me be real here. Your little girl wants some of your time. You don't want to be bothered right now. I was bleeding on everybody. Come on. I was bleeding on everybody. Y'all hear me? I was bleeding on everybody. You see, church, when you are bleeding while leading, it's hard to effectively impart to other people's lives that which you don't possess yourself. That's why I needed God to change my attitude. Because I began to realize that until God helped me to see that my situation wasn't going to change until my